Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 8 Xfinity car, this 6 Cup car this weekend. Hot.
Light load for you,
Hot.
only 2 races?
This is not a light load this weekend.
You should feel great today.
No.
It was only 125 degrees out there.
Saturday was a marathon day in the heat.
Yeah, Saturday was a long day.
Brett Griffin, spotter, I think this weekend for Chandler Smith in the Cup Series. I think we're running a car at Talladega. I don't have my travel itinerary yet, so I am banking on the fact that I'll be down there with you guys. Hopefully with a cool front blowing through before then.
If it's 89, it'll be a cool front for us. What's up, Freddie Kraft, spotter Bubba Wallace, Chandler Smith this weekend, and I will back up TJ's statement that was a miserable hot weekend. What's up, Casey? Casey was there. Casey, how hot was it down in the pits? It was almost. I felt like it was even hotter down there. It seemed like at times.
It was probably the most emptiest pit road I have ever experienced during a race. It was brutal, and I have a whole new appreciation for the studio.
Worse than COVID?
Well, yeah. I mean,
You have appreciation for what?
The studio, because Texas is way hotter than the studio. So don't ever complain about the studio ever again.
That's probably
I heard you guys had fans on the roof this weekend.
Why? Somebody thinks we have fans up there, but I've never seen any. I mean, there was a couple fans up there. I've seen them walking around.
Oh,
They were like shaking hands with people. They might have been friends
Not
of
the
other
fans
people.
that actually blow cool air.
Yeah, no, I've never. I heard a rumor that there's people that think there's fans up there, but I've never seen one in my life. TJ, maybe you could bet. I've never seen a fan up there in my life. Credit to them, they brought us water. Thank God.
I did see a fan on the roof this weekend.
Was it Drew Herring blowing on his iPad?
It was actually no. It was Kevin Hamlin brought one from his garage at his house that run off one of them DeWalt batteries or something. One of them little portable ones.
Yep.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
He's only like 3 or 4 people to my right. I wish I went down there.
Yeah. Wow.
You can literally. I know we beat this to death on here, but like Tab Boyd had an umbrella that obviously you can't spot with an umbrella, right? You can't the race is going on. You're not with binoculars, everything. You can't spot with an umbrella, but the first stage break, he took his umbrella out and just put it over the top of him, and I was next to him. Like, it's a world of difference.
It's amazing what shade does.
A world of difference.
Oh, it's 10 degrees cooler under that thing.
Yeah, I literally was in the shower this morning thinking about you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, next topic.
Well,
Where's,
anyways, this is a
No,
great...
this is serious. I was in the shower thinking about you
Oh,
guys.
yeah. Was your
And
favorite
I was
song?
like, it was so hot there yesterday. There has to be, we have to be the only people in professional sports that compete that aren't in a position to go cool off, go get in the shade, go grab some waters. And we have to be on the whole time. And all you would ask for up there literally is shade. So, even you look at UFC fighters, they get a break between rounds. You guys are just...
It's us and whoever is playing Alabama, because I remember we sat on the visitor side of the Alabama field that day.
Yeah, but they actually do have fans. They have those air mist fans that blow mist on you.
I did see the Dolphins game. Watched a little bit of the Dolphins and Broncos before they scored 100.
That was a nail biter.
Yeah, it was. And they even had little portable shade things because the Dolphins try to roast their opponents on the sidelines.
Yeah.
That's their goal
I
in the
think,
summer.
And listen, when I was walking up, me and Nick Payne were walking to the roof from the garage, and it was credit to all the fans that came out there yesterday because the crowd was pretty good. It was way better than what I was expecting for it to be 107 degrees. But walking across the racetrack before the race starts, the stands are empty because you're not going to sit up there until the race starts. Obviously,
that's the thing too, though. At any point, they can get up and walk up, and not to mention, it was fairly windy. So, in them walkways they have at the top of the stairs, it's probably like a hurricane there, so you can go stand right there. But, yeah, it was pretty hot, man. This
race is more than likely moving to the spring next year, I think. It's going to come out of the playoffs.
We're probably going to get frostbite next year.
That's fine. I tell everybody all the time, I will take 10 degrees over 100 every day of the week.
No way,
every day.
You're crazy.
I might be crazy, but you're not fat.
That's probably good. That's what I was going to say. That's because your body type.
I think the coldest it's ever been. TJ and I were at Bristol, and we literally had sleet hitting us in the face. It was sleeting in our face, and I had to put sunglasses on to keep from getting nailed in the eyeballs with sleet.
Yeah, that was I think the coldest that I've been in my entire life was at Texas, and it was during maybe a Friday night.
That's your fault.
I mean, Freddie was probably there.
That's his fault,
too. Texas handful of years ago. It was bad. It was freezing.
Martinsville is one of the ones I remember that being the coldest on the roof.
You start to race, and you're like, oh, it's okay. You get to lap 300, and you're like, My toes.
Well, the worst thing about spotting in the cold is your feet freeze.
Your fingers and your hand, your toes.
But you're moving your hands. You're not moving your feet. So at the end of the night, it's like frozen cement blocks, which I would have gladly traded in for yesterday rather than be 115 degrees.
Well, you'll probably get that chance later this year.
I know. When I'm freezing, I'll say I'll trade it for heat. When I'm hot, I say I trade it for cold.
One thing I want to talk about before we dive into this, all this other stuff that Casey's got to go through. Go ahead, Casey.
Brett, it's your show.
We can't forget about our friends at Birch Gold.
I know, guys. This episode, you can't forget. It's sponsored by Birch Gold Group.
It's going to be gold.
Oh, 100%.
It would have melted if I had it on.
True that. Get a free info kit on gold by texting DBC to 989898.
Good job.
Thank you, TJ. If you place an order by October 31st, you can get a gift card to score some Dirty Mo merch worth up to $500. I could use that right about now.
Me too.
I'll buy you another pair of golden gooses or whatever they are.
I won't buy those. He'll buy one of those.
If you get them on sale, or you can get a few vans. That's probably my approach.
Vans,
now.
like
you get a van down by the river.
Yeah.
Anyways, Brett, I know you have tons to say.
No, I just wanted to talk about a little bit real quick before we dive into our show. Jordan Bianchi, Jeff Gluck this morning were talking about the teardown, about how Texas Motor Speedway needs a legit facelift. And I was curious what you guys saw this weekend, because obviously I've been going there a long time, and you guys were too young for this, but when they originally opened Texas Motor Speedway, Bruton Smith loaded up a big jet, and he flew all of the NASCAR media members down there to see this facility. That's how proud he was of it. Obviously, they've built condos. They got a speedway club. The area where it's located is now legit amazing. Tons of cool retail around it. Freddie and I spent a full week down there a couple years ago. They've got like a Topgolf place across the road, amazing golf course, a nice Marriott, obviously the In-N-Out, the Buc-ee's and all that. But I was curious what you guys thought of the facility this weekend, because I've noticed walking around there that it does need an overhaul, especially if it's a playoff track.
Yeah, and there's two different sides to this. Obviously, you have the facility side of it, which the fans enjoy, and then there's the racetrack side of it, and I think they both need some changes. Like yesterday, it's so hard, and I'm fine. 3 and 4 is okay for me, because I think eventually that corner might widen out. 1 and 2, I think, is maybe one of the worst corners we have, because it's just they sprayed the resin up there, and it brings in a second lane, but the second we almost wrecked just trying to avoid Larson yesterday. When Larson spun out, like, we got just a little bit high, kind of like giving him room to wreck. And like, once you get past that point, it's like falling off a cliff. Like, you're just there's no grip whatsoever above that PJ1 or resin, whatever it is. So I'd like to see them do something, even if it's just make 1 and 2 the same as 3 and 4. But it's still super hard to pass. Like, I noticed yesterday, TJ's doing his job. We were catching the 6, and we moved up a lane. And he moved up a lane, and then we moved, and then once he takes your lane away, that's it. Like, you can't pass. And we broke even. Like, we would stay 3 back of him, and the 24 was catching us. He would stay 3 back of us, and then that's just how you run until somebody makes a mistake. So there's got to be some kind of adjustment. Like, we've seen the 1.5 miles be so good for this car, and this one just still falls flat.
Well, you're in the corner longer at Texas, but I'm speaking more to the facility side. Like, you used to drive through this tunnel, and you knew you were somewhere special. Like, the suites are outdated. Like, they've got to spend some money to make this place be a premier.
I will say the track and SMI did a great job of providing, like, events and things to do for fans around it. I know I was at the dirt track Friday and Saturday night where they had, future NASCAR racers and kids and even adults. Kyle Busch was out there running. They were out there right after the Xfinity race. So I think they do a good job on the event side. Definitely different than what it used to be. I think there used to be more of like a carnival vibe. It was a little different there. And I do agree on the venue standpoint. But I think for how big that track is and how different that track is compared to so many others, they do a good job providing that experience.
It's just the little thing. Like, it's just outdated. It's where it's getting to. I mean, I don't know, what year was it built? Like the mid-90s, right?
I'd say 97.
So, and I don't think it's gone through much of a facelift. And to Jeff's, like, I was listening to the same thing Jeff and Jordan, like you see the improvements they've made to Daytona. Some of the ISE tracks, Phoenix, you can see where they're reinvesting the money or investing more money into these facilities to bring them more up to date, and you could see what's going on there. This one here, the parking lot is kind of a mess. It's just it just takes some money and some care, but
a lot of money because look at Phoenix. Phoenix was $100 million remodel. Daytona was a $400 million remodel. They just gave Charlotte Motor Speedway $20 million. That's not enough money.
No.
These companies that own these tracks are going to have to subsidize it too. So I just want to point that out because our fans. This is what it's about. The fans deserve an awesome experience, and you and I should not be able to go to a minor league baseball park and it'd be better than where we go for a NASCAR Cup race.
Oh, I went on Friday night to the new Texas Rangers Park, and I mean, oh my God, unbelievable! Like I don't even know. It's probably a couple years old now, but
how much were tickets?
I mean, to get in I bought obviously a little bit better tickets, but they were $60. It was $4 to get in the door, I think, if you wanted to sit up in the top. And by the way, if you want, there's you can buy $4 or $5 tickets, whatever it was, to sit nosebleeds. But there's also a railing with a bar top along the whole outfield that you could just stand there like a standing room only, essentially, and watch the game. I don't think anybody's going to chase you off. So yeah, I mean, phenomenal facility. Sorry, marvelous facility, and. Yeah, but we just, I mean, it's not like it's dilapidated, falling apart, but you could just tell it's getting older.
Yeah, I walked. I think they did some. I thought they did some things to the track because I went downstairs at the bottom of the elevator. First thing I noticed is this huge bar. Did you see that?
They did. Yeah, that bar's new. It was there last year, but I mean.
But I noticed this huge bar there, which was kind of cool, where you could come right back from the stands, go right to the bar, get yourself a drink, and I also went to look for something to eat one time, and I got out of there, shaft, turned left, and it was like a whole convenience store right there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Dude, it was like walking into a 7-Eleven. Like the whole back wall was all freezer stuff, type of beer.
They have a 7-Eleven too.
They do, yeah.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it was right next to the
when
elevator.
Bruton when he bought Bristol Motor Speedway, look at what he transformed it into. When he bought Sonoma, you guys, I don't know if y'all were going out there yet. When he bought Sonoma, you could stand on the hill where we spot from and see the entire track. Well, he went in and spent a ton of money. We didn't even have garages in Sonoma. He built garages, built that front stretch grandstand. When you look at what he's done to Atlanta over the years with the condos, Charlotte Motor Speedway, what he built it into, it's like SMI. And SMI has some of the greatest properties we go to. They just need to come back in and spend some money to make them more current because they're out of date. And it's not one of them. It's most of them. And they're all in phenomenal NASCAR-loved markets.
I don't think, from the bathroom stuff we go to and stuff, they're pretty up to date still. But I'm sure the suites could probably use some updating and stuff. But to me, the biggest thing that we could do there is probably work on the racetrack. To me, I don't know.
It ain't gonna matter if the fan experience is not good.
Well, I mean,
you want to go to where Freddie just went to watch Texas Rangers.
If you're put on a good show,
what does it cost you?
Good.
What does it cost you for a weekend to go to Texas Motor Speedway? Family of 4, coming from 200 miles away. $2,000?
I don't know. I don't.
Probably more than that. I mean, if you're factoring in hotels and stuff, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't think
Goodyear can fix the racing. NASCAR can fix the cars to fix the racing.
I don't care whatever Goodyear does. They're not going to make anyone run the wall at Texas in 1 or 2 like we used to. That racetrack, you got 8 lanes of unused racetrack there for no reason.
Especially not when you're spraying grip on the bottom of it.
Well, I'm just saying,
middle of it. Yeah.
We've talked about it before. The first laps into turn 1 there, when they redid this, everyone was like, whoa. Everyone was missing the corner. And we need to just chop half the racetrack off up there.
Where do you think Texas is at on the schedule next year? Still one race?
One race, I would say sometime in April.
Not March?
Maybe March.
I looked up the average weather for the end of March, and it's average high. The high is 70.
I love being in Texas during the playoffs. I think it's a great market.
It is a cool area.
I mean, everything you do in Texas, their fans are awesome. The people are awesome. But
you're right. It is March. My numbers are off. I have 3.
I would hate to see it leave the playoff, but I get it. I get it why it has to. Here's the weird thing about our playoffs, though. Like our ratings are the highest they'll ever be all season for the first race. And then they slowly decline. And then last week I saw we were down a couple 100,000. I heard Jordan Bianchi say on the podcast this morning, you got to have your 10 best tracks in the playoff. No, you don't. Your ratings are the lowest they've been all year. I mean, our championship race doesn't even go crazy out in Phoenix or Homestead or wherever you have it. So put your 10 best races for your fans.
Do you think that's because that's when NFL starts?
Yeah, I think that happens. And I think, too, I mean, Freddie and I were talking about it a week ago. I think we were on a boat. Like, it's a Chase Elliott effect. He's not in the playoffs.
Also,
and
I mean,
it hurts.
That area as well. I know it's not just that area, but I mean, what are all the people in that area watching during our race?
You'd think the Cowboys get blown out by the Cardinals.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and bringing up the playoffs, like we've heard some rumors of, and here's, I want to ask you guys this, you know, what should I know we need to challenge drivers in the playoffs. You know, you can't just have 5 intermediate ovals and 5 short tracks and let them go rip. We have right now, we have 1 plate track, we have 1 or drafting track, whatever you want to call it, and 1 road course. Would you be okay with a second drafting track and a second road course in the playoffs?
What's the drafting track?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at Atlanta.
You think back to back?
Is that what you're hearing?
Man, I don't know. I'm not a fan of 2 road courses in our playoffs, and I know
I don't want 2 road courses. I can tell you that. One, we've oversaturated. It's our worst racing. It's the we've oversaturated the road, you know, the road course side of it, I think now. But a lot of that's getting fixed.
Yeah.
So
Is that what you're hearing on the schedule for next year? I know there's rumors.
Listen, literally, I heard rumors for 2 months, and then I heard that every rumor I heard was pretty much.
I take back everything I said about a doubleheader. I will tell you that part.
You know, it's just ever changing. You know, it seems like there's one date. I think it's. I mean, we could say it's the Montreal date that they don't know. It's not locked down yet, and if that doesn't get done, it's probably going to send this thing back into another tailspin.
This is going to be a smart ass question. How long ago was it when we realized the Olympics were going to be in 2024?
I don't know.
I don't think
probably in 2020.
Yeah,
I don't think the Olympics are the problem.
What's the problem?
I think they've got that figured out. I think that, like Freddie said, I think we got a track that can't get locked down.
How do you not have that figured out if you knew?
It's a domino effect
You're working
from that.
with a city working with essentially.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of that. But
if
that doesn't happen, it's a domino effect. What track can you? Then you got to move other things around.
Yeah, and I feel like you might see Xfinity make a return to Iowa next year. And listen, if that Montreal date doesn't work out, there may be a very slim chance, but there's a chance that we may end up with a Cup race in Iowa next year.
Can we request
right.
that? Can we request
I don't know how good
that
that's going to be. We're already arrow tight in Martinsville. Milwaukee's going to be, but I do
not
like
Milwaukee, Iowa.
Oh, that'd be fun.
But let's do it. It's just one of them. Like you hear this name, you know, on the list of places that could replace Montreal if Montreal doesn't happen.
Can we
call
have
Iowa right now? Just see
can we have it the same weekend as the Knoxville Nationals? Because that would be solid.
That'd
Calm
be nice.
down. That would be cool though, because I would like to see
there's like listen, like to your point, Casey. Like literally every rumor that we were hearing for a while, like Brett talked about the doubleheaders not happening.
So the doubleheader in Richmond's not happening now? I heard it
doesn't
was.
Doesn't sound like it.
I heard like a midweek and then Saturday night, all 4 in a row. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Listen, like I said, I heard rumors last week and this week they could be completely different. You know what I mean? Like it's changing by the week, it seems like, or by the day. And we've seen Bob tweet it like, I was expecting an scheduled announcement today, but it's been pushed 2 weeks. And if they tell me in 2 weeks it's pushed another 2 weeks, it wouldn't surprise me. So it's just seems like there's one date holding things up. And then listen, if you look and we're not having a doubleheader, and we know we have to have 2 off weekends, one's like the end of July, one's probably the first week of August, then the schedule is going to have to change because we're going to have to run a week later. And if you look at the way the schedule looks out and you back up 10 weeks from that point, where does that leave your cutoff races? Where does that leave
here's where the fan can win. Look at when Labor Day weekend is. Know that Darlington is going to be there, and then that tells you how the schedule pivots.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think either way, if Montreal gets the date, I think there's going to be a really good crowd there. I think Montreal will have a
250,000 people
easily.
I think there'll be a lot of people there. It's a great area as well.
But how long are you going to wait on Canada? Canada. How long are you going to wait on that?
I don't know the answer to that. But I also think.
How long are you going to wait on Canada to let you know?
Oh, yeah.
We stand on guard for thee. Does your paycheck stretch as far as it used to? Most likely it doesn't. But you can help hedge against inflation by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, an asset that has stood the test of time.
Birch Gold Group has helped tens of thousands of Americans protect their retirement savings with physical precious metals. Now you can too. Get a free info kit on gold right now by texting DBC to 989898. Fill out a brief form, then speak to one of their representatives so they can personalize your free, no obligations info kit.
Plus, only for listeners of Dirty Mo Media podcast, when you place your order by October 31st, you can get a gift card up to $500 to purchase Dirty Mo Media and Junior Motorsports merchandise. You can use that for race gear, autographed collectibles, shirts, hats, and much more.
But you can only get this gift card by texting DBC to the number 989898, filling out the brief form, speaking to one of their representatives, then buying from Birch Gold by October 31st.
With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, you're in good hands with Birch Gold. So get started now. Text DBC to 989898.
All right, well, back to the on-track portion of the race this past weekend. I know, Freddie, shout out, you guys had a solid day yesterday, and congrats to Hendrick on Cup win number 300 with Byron's win.
She just slapped you. And solid day. Congrats to Hendrick.
but back to you. I know that last restart really changed the game for you. You know, looking.
You think?
Looking as you were spotting from the lead, what would you possibly have done differently? What could have changed for you?
So we're going to do this now instead of spot on, spot off?
I mean,
listen, nothing. We needed to execute better. We did 2 or 3 restarts, and we got away. Well, the one with Larson, I don't know. You know, we had an aggressive restart. Everybody's been aggressive racing for the lead, and Kyle spun out. Then we had a good restart, got out front, and a big wreck happened. We had to do another restart, and didn't get a great push from behind for whatever reason. Just kind of got away from the 9. Didn't get a good shove. They got hooked up on the bottom before us. Briscoe was pretty tight, and then he had damage on his nose, I think, from kind of running the back of us on a restart before. So he got tight, kind of chased us up the hill. Nothing he did wrong. He's trying to go for the win just like everybody else was. And then I think the only mistake we made was trying to cover the bottom of 3 on entry versus just taking our normal line in there. You heard Bubba talk about it in his post-race interview. I don't think the 24 was in there far enough to really launch into 3 and get position on us. I think we could have entered a little bit better and got a better run off of 4 and probably cleared him. But hindsight's 20/20, and there's no telling what would have happened. He might have still got us if we got out front of him and he was second. So it's a good day. We led the most laps we've ever led in a race, 111, I think it was. Pole for the weekend. Close. Would have liked to have locked in, obviously, when you got some wild cards coming up here with Talladega and the Roval. But not in the cards that day, so all you can do is learn from it, move on. And
all the way around, best weekend Bubba Wallace has ever had in a Cup car.
Easily.
Led the most laps he's ever led.
I don't know. That Kansas weekend was pretty good.
No, I mean, he won the race, but he started from the pole.
Yeah.
Led the most laps you've ever led, 111 laps, right? I think the next most laps is like 80 at another track, like Richmond or somewhere. I mean, you had 2 good stages. You didn't end up getting a lot of points out of them. You're there to win the race at the end of the race, and you didn't.
Yeah, and you know, I've seen a lot of people questioning our decision making in the first stage of whether or not we should have stayed out to chase 10 points versus first of all, we were playing to win the game. You know, you hear that, you know, Herm Edwards play to win the game. Yeah. And we thought we had a car capable of winning. We did. And to the point of, you know, we should have just took the 10 stage points. Well, look at the guy that
I would have easily taken the 10 stage points at that point. That's guaranteed 10 points.
But look
From
at
there on out,
look
you're
at
not
the guy that
guaranteed
won
anything.
them. Look at the guy that won the 10 stage points. Did you ever see him again after he lost the lead?
I don't even know who was. Who was it?
Tyler Reddick. Did you ever see him again?
Well, he also drove into the fence. But
Not because he was back there in 20th trying to.
But you had
he was buried in traffic.
To me, you had a better car than him as well.
Well, I mean, they should be the same. I mean, they're set up. You know, they're out of the same stable. But
are you saying Bubba Wallace is better than Tyler Reddick?
But I'm just saying, like, it's easy to see. You can't. I don't think you can throw away your entire race to chase stage points because we've done that this year. We did it at Bristol, and it was the reason we transferred. But because we got them 10 stage or 8 stage points, whatever it was. We were never in contention for the race again. We did it at Michigan earlier this year. We chased stage points. We got good stage points, but then we finished mid-pack because we could never get our track position
So now
back.
you didn't get the stage points, and you still finished.
And we got the sixth. And we got the 6th highest points in the race. And the guy that got the 10 stage points finished 40th.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can compare that guy because it could have been anybody that stayed out.
There was only 4 or 5 guys that got points in both stages.
You're obviously stronger than that car, so I think Bubba. Who knows how it would have worked out? Nobody really knows.
We were.
I just don't know how you pass up 10 guaranteed points right there
just because we knew that we were going to end up what the 45 ended up with. Eventually, you're going to chase them stage points, but eventually you're going to have to restart in the 20s. And if you restart in the 20s there, you're not getting back to the front.
No.
So we took the chance of we're going to go to try to win the race. And we got the 5th highest points on the day. We were in contention, probably should have won the race. I don't know how you can question that. I get it. Obviously, would we have liked to have gotten everything perfect world, get them 10 stage points?
Well,
and
I
then
can tell you how you can question it. You can question it because there's more points on the table. That's how you question it.
But I'm just saying, like, the guy that got the 10 stage points, TJ, got 22 points on the day. He got 10 points in that stage. He got 22 on the day. We got 37 points.
But he was never in contention all day.
He led the f***ing race for a half.
No.
He was in the top 5, stayed out. He was in the top 5, stayed out.
He wasn't. To me, Reddick. Did you ever see Reddick all day and be like, "Oh man, that guy's gonna win"?
He was running in the top 5 before that.
I never looked at him and thought he was gonna win. I looked at your car and thought, "Okay, that guy's."
You never looked at him because thought he was gonna win because he was buried in traffic the rest of the day.
I'm just saying, it's hard to pass up points, man.
You're right, but at this situation, was it the right call or wrong call? Because look at the guy that won the 10 points and look at us.
I don't know. I mean, Larson,
we got 15 more points than he did.
One caution sways the whole thing. I mean, look at when JJ wrecked, that changed the entire race.
Okay, at the same point, we were going to run 5th then, and Reddick was still buried in about 18th.
Just saying.
I know what you're just saying. You're wrong. That's all there is to it.
Well, so you can tell me when every caution is going to be the rest of the race?
It doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is if you try to get stage points there, you're setting yourself up to be buried the whole second half of the race. That's all there is to it.
I mean, I just think there's a lot of opportunity because there was a lot of different pit strategies. We were buried with 10 to go in the race. We were 17th. We finished 7th.
Okay.
So,
but I'm just saying, we've done this before, and we did it last week at Bristol. We did it a couple weeks or whatever, a month ago at Michigan.
Well, that just tells you. We come off pit road with the next to last caution. We're 17th. We're buried.
Yeah, and you got how many wrecks in front of you to get positions?
What's the matter? Why is, your wrecks can't happen with the other time either with other.
So I'm gonna take 10 stage points, restart 20, and just hoping half the field wrecks. That's a good strategy.
I'm just saying there's opportunity, things happen, and you can get stuff back.
Like I said, we were playing to win the race, and we were in position to win the race. That's all we did, and it benefited us. We finished top 5, or 3rd, whatever it was. We got 37 stage points, 5th most on the day. It is what it is.
Santa Claus doesn't put cup wins under Christmas trees. And you guys were in a position to do it. You didn't pull it off. Obviously,
I don't know. I've seen some wins that were put under Christmas trees.
Oh, what were your thoughts on the pit road contact between Ty Gibbs and Hamlin?
That was weird.
Oh, Josh yelling at Hirsch was kind of funny.
I thought Josh was so excited to yell
I
at
ain't
Hirsch.
seen Josh move that fast in a while.
What?
I don't even know what he was yelling at Hirsch about, but I think Hirschman likes to tell us all how to do our jobs at times, and I think that Josh just took the opportunity to go down there and yell at him.
I think that's exactly what it was. As soon as they hit, it wasn't like 5 seconds after they had contact. I heard Josh yell, Hirsch! And he was like, I'm like, was the 12 in that?
I don't know.
It wasn't even in it.
It seemed weird.
But then he was.
We talked about this with the deal with Elliott and Larson a couple weeks ago. Like, for some reason, the 54 was shaded way to the left. Like, it looked like there was a whole car worth
there was,
of room to the outside of him. And then I don't know what the communication was on the 11 pit. Like, he drove straight out into traffic. I mean, he got hit T-boned in the door, essentially.
I don't think you could. I can't. If they hit 2 feet further back on the 11, it might break.
It probably knocks the rear end or the
rear
toe link
or something, man. Like, holy cow, they hit hard. The 11 shot out there like he was trying to hit him. Not that I don't think he was, but I do think the 11 was surprised the 54 was that low. Because if you look at the replay again, there's a huge gap. Just like you said, the 9 had a big gap on the outside of him. I don't know why these guys are crowding the inside lane. These guys got to go around cars to get out. And if you have room over there, you got to use it. You're just putting yourself in harm's way. And luckily, Denny didn't get damaged that ended his race because it ended a 54's race, right? That took him out of the race.
It did, yes.
So it could have very, very easily been Denny. And if, I don't know, where's Denny at in the points? He's good.
Way good, yeah. Second, I think.
Okay, but if he wrecks right there, that's probably, 20 points?
Oh, at least.
So he goes from there to...
He would be where Kyle, I don't
he's
know
probably
right
in front of Ross. Or
he'd be right in front
of
He'd be right in front of, like, Kyle. Because Kyle, I don't know how many more Kyle wrecked around then. And then he's got more playoff points than Kyle. So he'd probably be out, but like around 8th, 9th probably, I think.
That's season changing right there.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, let us not forget to call out the fact that we are doing a live show Charlotte race weekend. right after the Xfinity Series race. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you're in town for Charlotte race, you have to show up for this.
I'm staying in town to do this, so y'all better show up.
Well, you
I hope your fan shows back up, but he's not going to be mad this year.
Maybe Freddie will get me a spotting gig.
Sure, you want to be a second spotter this week?
Yeah, because I could probably drink beer.
You probably can.
There.
Yeah, this week is the most useless second spotter in the history of second spotters if you choose to incorporate
Yeah, you'll
it.
just watch.
Yeah.
You'll just watch.
Bring you a lawn chair, flip flops, some board
you
shorts.
can have Bodie spot for you, and
That's
you
true.
probably do well.
I've done the backstretch at Talladega before. Have you?
I have. You can actually
Yeah.
really help them getting out of 4 and getting into 1, but you don't have much of a window to be.
Yeah.
Like, you got to really have your hand off and pickups right. Hermie Sadler and I did a good job with it back in the day. I first did it with Chuck Joyce back in the 90s, but you got to have a really experienced guy. And then our binoculars gotten better. Their reviews. I didn't even spot with binoculars, believe it or not, when we first got here until those wide zooms came out. So a lot of things
a
are
lot
better.
of back then though there was I don't know. I want to say the runs were big, but they were lazier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, remember when NASCAR would send out a schedule saying, all right, there'll be a flatbed to pick you up on the pit road. You get on this flatbed, this tractor would pick you up.
That was actually pretty cool to ride.
It
back there
was,
on
yeah.
that thing.
This tractor would take you to the backstretch grandstands and pick you up after the race. And
Yeah. I remember I was not back on the backstretch, but I remember one year they all threw their seat cushions over the fence because Dale Jr. didn't win. They were pissed off. I can't remember who did win, but Dale Jr. did not win. It might have been
talking
Jeff
about-
Gordon or somebody.
I was saying, the only Talladega, or the biggest race I can remember Dale Jr. not winning there is when Brian Vickers turned.
Oh, yeah, and he wrecked Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, him and
What a
Vickers
methodical crash by Vickers. Do you think he knew that was going to happen? If I wreck third place, or if I wreck second place, he's going to wreck first place, and then I'm going to win.
I figure that's how McDowell won the 500. He saw that. He's Vickers.
Yeah.
You know, just swipe the guy in second. He hooks the guy leading, and you look like you win the race.
Experience the thrill of the racetrack like you're in the driver's seat with DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet on your favorite racers and feel the rush of every pass, pit stop, and victory like never before.
Right now, new customers can turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. Bet 5 on anything to score big, no matter what goes down on the track. With props, parlays, and more, there will be action to follow all race long.
The racing action doesn't stop till the checkered flag drops. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and join with code CLEAR. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's code CLEAR only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
I'll tell you what, Freddie, I don't know how much you've seen Dirty Modo, but I don't know of anywhere else in the sport that you can get the kind of intel from racing professionals, we'll use that term loosely, about stats, drivers. I think Letart's got his thumb on things.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, let's be honest here. It's really the professor that's the brains of that operation over there. But Stevie does have a good, obviously, wealth of knowledge, many years in the sport. So, I mean, check out Dirty Modo Thursdays on Dirty Mo Media.
Hey, they know strategy, and hopefully they know how to win.
For sure.
Let's move on to spot on, spot off. First topic. Brennan Poole spins into the inside pit wall in the Xfinity race. Should there be a barrier wall to prevent future accidents bleeding into pit road? TJ, spot on, spot off.
I am not spot on for the wreck. I don't know how you can be spot on for a wreck, but I don't think you can put a wall there because if you put a wall there, somewhere there has to be the end of the wall. And I don't know if Texas is a place where you want even chance hitting the end of a wall coming off a 4 or down the front. But
What about Michigan? You want a chance it there? There's a wall there.
No, I don't want to chance it there either. I don't want to hit any wall head on.
There's a wall at Michigan.
That's fine. I don't want to add another one. But so seeing this wreck happen, this wreck was totally preventable, mostly by him because to me there was a car inside of him and he just came down across the guy from what I saw. I don't think the guy came up and clipped him or anything. But his interview said he just got run into. But I think he was trying to stop the guy's run, and the guy was just there. So
I don't think he spun in the pit wall. I think he drove head on into it, what looked like wide open. This is extremely dangerous for a lot of people. Thankfully, no green flag stops were happening at the time because there wouldn't have been injuries. There would have been deaths. I mean, you can't have a 3,000-pound car coming at you at 100-plus miles an hour. I am all for figuring out a way to put out a wall. If we can do it at Dover, if we can do it at Michigan where corner speeds are extremely high coming to pit road, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I think a buddy of mine, Zach Case, works. I don't know if he works on that car, but I know he works for that team at times. And he said that the guys were just out there retaping their marks on pit road, like the team for that. I think it was the 44 team, might have been a 45. I don't know. But he said that pit crew was just out there because these guys, if you see it, if you watch a race, you see these orange tape marks where that's kind of where they want the driver to put that left front tire or whatnot. He said, throughout the race, they got kind of get tore up. So they were just out there retaping that and just got back over the wall before this happened. And to your point, yeah, they think, you think about, I know it's low probability, but, not only that, hitting somebody there, but, what if this happens? We've seen it, guys in truck practice or truck qualifying spin out, hit the end of that wall, hit the inside of that wall. What happens if this happens during qualifying?
And everybody's lined up.
There's cars lined up. You get destroyed. Cars just get destroyed sitting there. People are standing around during qualifying. Now you got people. Pit stops. Thank God, to your point, there wasn't a pit stop going on. I think there has to be some kind of barrier between the racetrack and that pit road.
TJ, if you're against putting a wall there, then what would you suggest?
I don't know. I guess I just know that if there's a lot of wrecks in Turn 4 at Texas, there's probably. I would hate to have a wreck just past the center of 3 and 4 and somebody, carrying a lot of speed, get up in there and slide down off the bottom. And I just don't.
I don't think you have to have it. You look at a place like Charlotte, you don't have to have it out there at the exit of 4. The one at Charlotte, I feel like starts, 4 or 5 pit stalls in. So it's like it doesn't carry as far. Yeah. So you've got some room.
I guess there's probably a strategic place that's not the very end of it, but like Charlotte does do a good job of getting it kind of out of the way there. Like it's at a hard spot to actually get to with a lot of speed, because if you're wrecking that part of the track, most of the time you're going up the racetrack still. And yeah, I don't know I'm not totally against putting a wall there, but it's been a long time since I've seen a car almost gain speed across grass and
he was hauling ass.
I was worried about the car. If something breaks on that car just right, or something and a tire folds under it or something, and that thing launches right there. Whew.
Did you guys know that Andrew went to an Eric Church concert this weekekend?
No.
Hold on, I was going to bring something up that was relevant to the topic.
All over here. Look at this Man Crush Monday moment where he has now tweeted that Eric Church handed him a guitar pick.
Really? Hey, thumbs up to Eric.
I do have a one idiot from that concert. So
Is it you?
It's not me.
That's my question.
It's not me. But based on what y'all were just talking about, Blake brought up a great point that last year Cody Ware also hit the inside wall.
Yeah, he smoked
the
outside wall and then
hit the opening, didn't he?
Yeah.
I thought he was
Or he
hurt.
just barely hit the opening.
Yeah. That was a big wreck.
I just retweeted your tweet, Andrew, for
Thanks, Brett.
Man Crush Monday. I've never seen a kid so happy over a guitar pick.
Crush
What are you going to
Monday.
do with that pick? You going to sleep with it, or what happens?
It's under
now?
his pillow like the tooth
I'm probably
fairy.
going to play it.
I'll bet it's in his wallet right now.
It's not.
Are you going to put it in your socks for when you do this Iron Man thingy?
Yeah, I will.
A little extra boost.
Between the socks and the erectile dysfunction medicine, it should be a hell of a race for you.
He probably
Best of
still
luck.
he's going to get a tattoo of it right on his arm. Like they're going to trace it.
Well, now that we got way off topic there, following Kyle's wreck during the race at Texas, he says, I feel like I'm letting my team down every time I crash. It's like the less I try and the more we just ride around, the better day we have. Spot on.
What a concept.
Yeah, I spot off, Freddie.
That's spot on for the end of his comment there. Here's who I noticed this about too, and we've talked about this. I think I talked about on here last week. Kyle's been struggling, and when I say struggling, they've been crashing in practice. They've been cutting tires and crashing. I don't know what happened yesterday. He just looked like he went into one, and I listened to the Gluck's,
right in front of us.
Gluck's podcast, and he said something about they thought they were having trouble, and then the next restart he goes and wrecks. So I don't know what happened there, but this just seems like, and I don't know if it's Kyle, the car, something breaking, what's going on there, but to his point in that second half of that, you look at a guy, the perfect example of that is Sheldon Creed, and you look at that Xfinity race the other day, which I don't think we're talking about it, but we go out lap 1, and 2 playoff guys just drive straight in the fence. Riley Herbst and Sam Mayer, that Riley's talking about his tire. No, it wasn't tires, but you got out of the groove and drove in the fence. Sam did the same thing off of 2. Sheldon Creed's car is awful. It's been awful for the last month, it seems like. And he just rode around all day, put 2 tires on at the end, got a decent finish, and here he is. Now he's a couple points to the good. That might be
the best race I've seen Sheldon run.
Yeah, like he's a couple points to the good now versus all these guys that are wrecked and way out and must wins in the Xfinity Series. Now here you find Kyle, who was in pretty good position to start this round, but now here he is 17 points out because they go out and wreck. You just, like, to his point, maybe you need to just ride around and take what it gives you instead of trying to push a little bit too hard.
I'm spot on for him admitting it. I mean, you look back at his races. Race 20, Loudon, New Hampshire, is when the wheels fell off of this thing. He's had 1 top 5 since then. Before that, obviously 3 wins and a really good season going. And he's not wrong. And he's a guy, he's one of the best to ever drive a race car. Right?
Yes.
You agree with that, TJ?
Yeah, he's really good.
I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it. But so stop trying so hard. Stop putting your team in a hole. If you're going to be as good as we say you are, you got to be that good all weekend. You can't just show up halfway through the race and do it. But you go back and look at his stats, fans, racingreference.com at Loudon, New Hampshire, the wheels fell off.
Yeah, I agree with what he said for sure because we were loose. We were really loose that first run, and we were fading a little bit. Kyle caught us and passed us, and the lap after he passed us, he gets super loose. It's probably 2 laps after he passes. We were already Brad. I can tell when Brad's okay. If I go any harder here, I'm gonna wreck myself. Brad is really good at managing his stuff and staying within his limits. And man, Kyle went by us, and 2 laps later, he got super loose, and we got a big run on him. He slid all the way to the top through him. Like, he went into the bottom and slid to the top in the middle to block us. And it's like, okay, it was that lap or the next lap after that, he went into 1. And Brad's like, he could see it. He was trying super hard at that point and just lost it. But like you say, I mean, he had enough speed in that car where if he just lets them adjust on it a couple times throughout the race, he's probably going to be in contention for the win. But look at guys like William Byron. He was nowhere to be seen all day. Christopher Bell, mid-pack, and they just ride around, take what's given. Harvick.
It's rare you say that about Bell because he's usually fence or win.
Yeah, he did a really good job of just finishing the race off. But Byron, man, he was just taking what was given, had a fast car. Same thing he did at like the Roval. Started in the back. You didn't see him all day, but he ended up with a good finish because he just doesn't make any mistakes. He's just finishing the races off with what's given to him. And it's paying off for him right now. That's all Harvick did all day. Harvick didn't do anything all day but ride around, take what was given. Then he ends up with a, 6th or 7th or 5th or 6th or something like that. And a good day for Harvick.
I don't think that matters, honestly. Like, Harvick's either win or who cares.
Well, I'm just saying that's how you finish these races.
That's how you have a good
off.
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't beat yourself.
Well, moving on to another Kyle in the race. Kyle Larson says, I should have just made more space after spinning in a side-by-side battle with Bubba Wallace for the win. Freddie.
Spot on. Spot on that he didn't take us with him. Listen, it's just 2 guys that were 2 guys that are really good at restarts. 2 guys that are just gonna let it all hang out there. I mean, we didn't have to. What I told Bubba coming to the Greenware was, we want to win, we don't have to win, and don't be overly aggressive here, selling out to try and get the win. And maybe I'm biased. Obviously you're holding him tight, but I don't think we were holding him, like trying to wreck him tight. I think we got on his door there into 1, and Kyle lost it, and we were keep referencing the tear down. But I think Jeff talked to Cliff afterwards, and Cliff just said, listen, these cars haven't had this issue as bad as the old car where, you can there's a little more side force to lean on, but then the second you lose that side force, it's over. Like, there's no saving it. So I think just 2 guys going for it. Kyle said he should have maybe gave us more room. I don't know. I don't know what else he's going to do differently there. It's just
they were tight in the 1.
It's just,
they were super tight.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. What are you going to do in that situation?
No, I'm not saying they shouldn't have been. I'm just I know that when they go down the corner that tight, that they're going to be the guy on the inside.
And I was expecting him to be a little like we were kind of in. You can only run so high in one. So like we were kind of in that middle lane, like a lane and a half off the bottom, and he was right there on us instead of being on the very bottom. So I don't think he did anything wrong. I mean, obviously he spun out, but I don't think. Obviously, I'm not going to say Bubba did anything wrong because I think that we did everything we were supposed to do there. But I don't know if you guys might have a different opinion.
It's hard to look at it. It's hard to look at the replay and just say, "Oh, this guy," because if you're not in the moment racing every corner and seeing the little things they're doing, which I don't think the TV can show you as good as what we can see because we see what they're doing. And to me, it's hard to say whether I know Kyle spun out, but like he's trying to do everything he can because he needs that foot to help make the corner. And Bubba's like, okay, you're not getting that foot. I'm going to put you down there. And it's just really hard racing at that point in time. I didn't see it happen live, but I know the cat and mouse games that we all play on the straightaways and manipulating air for the corners and all that stuff. And I'm sure there was a lot of that going on before that. I mean, everyone's doing that every single lap.
It's easy to know who screwed up, who wrecked. Scientific explanation given. Kyle Larson probably thought he had one of the best cars in the field and didn't think he would lose it. He knows he's one of the best drivers in the field, didn't think he would lose it. And guess what happened? He lost it. So, obviously, this was a big opportunity for Bubba to capitalize and get the win. I'm curious, Freddie, and I know we're getting ready to go into this one. Is Bubba Wallace the restart king?
Man, listen, he's marvelous, phenomenal, whatever you want to call it. That's what he is at restarts. He's really good. I mean, he's my driver, but the stats back it up too. And he just obviously it's hard to say that when you lose the race on a restart, but I think that he is obviously, in my opinion, one of the best. I mean, you guys watch the races the same way I do, and I have a more unbiased opinion, I'm sure, but it's hard to argue that he's not one of the best out there.
You don't have an opinion, Brett? Is he? Isn't he?
I listen. He said he's a restart king, and the stats are there that he is one of the best. And he
called himself that?
The hard part is when you look at the restart data, whatever y'all want to call the word. I think it's one thing to be the restart king, restarting 12th. I think it's another to be the restart king, starting with a lead. And when you look at the Kyle Busches and the Ron Hornadays, those guys won races from the lead with restarts, and you knew you were going to have a hard time beating them. He was very close to getting the win, and he made, in my mind, an epic error on the restart, after the restart, going into turn 3, where it looked like he was trying to clear himself to the bottom, Freddie, but then he realized he had to hold a lane, and by the time he got to turn 3, with the speed he had, he was not setting himself up to make the apex given the lane he was in. And, man, it was heartbreaking to watch him lose a race that way. And listen, everybody on social media either loves you or they hate you. And I don't just mean you. I mean 2311, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. You guys are – there's no gray area with where your fan bases are. But when he got out of the car and said he was a restart king, like, people were melting down. Oh, yeah. And the fact that people were saying he's not as good as he was. Well, he sat on the pole and he led 111 laps and he damn near won the race. So, obviously, I'm a Bubba supporter. But break down for me that last lap-ish before you lost the lead coming into turn 3.
Restart king.
Did I not already do this?
Yeah.
He's already did this.
Did you?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I asked that question in the BS segment.
Good job.
I mean, we can do it again.
I want to get. I think.
Don't do it again.
I don't know if he's the restart king, but Bubba's definitely very. He's very good at restarts. He knows where he doesn't make the mistake. He knows where to be. He positions himself well. I also think. I don't remember him being quite as good when he was in the 43 car. I don't know if, I think a lot of the restart stuff is very car dependent too. If your car is good and the driver is comfortable, they can make moves and go forward. Like if you have a fast car, it's going to turn. You can go places other cars can't. Like we saw them mile and a half a few years ago. Remember when them Hendrick cars were going to the top, turn to the bottom? They're the only cars that could do that.
Yeah.
That makes passing a lot easier. But I definitely think Bubba's one of the better. He's definitely one of the top tier guys at restarts. I've noticed that over the years.
I go back to when we were teammates with him at Roush and even other places. I've heard him say when he restarts behind certain people, he knows he's going to pass them. That's a mindset. And there's a lot of things that it takes to make you great at restarts. The first thing is mindset. The first thing is be aggressive. I mean, Chris Rice and I we hammered some drivers last 2 years about you have to be an animal on restarts, especially in these cars, because if you don't pass them then, you're not going to pass them at all.
Yeah, I mean, and the racing analytics on Twitter or whatever, I'm not sure what the actual Twitter handle is, but they posted something a couple weeks ago about, positions gained or lost, and we were like plus 91. The next guy was like in the 50s, and then to your point, that's also restarting top 10 versus the front row. But he's just really good at taking advantage of people, like you just said. Like we I think it was it you that we went outside like middle of 3 on into 1 yesterday, and
Yes,
cleared the 17. Like he's just really good at kind of putting people in a position where puts them at a disadvantage and him at an advantage, and it's just I think that some of it just comes from willing to be more aggressive than some are willing to be at that point in a race or whatnot, and I'm sure it's going to come back to bite him somewhere down the road, But at this point, he's capitalizing on it, and if he wants to call him the king.
That restart, we were pushing. We got to the guy in front of us right at the start-finish line, and Bubba wasn't quite there yet. So naturally, he's going to have a little bit of a run when we get to 1. Well, I'm telling Brad out of the dog leg, you got to hang a hard left because here comes Bubba. Bubba's coming with a run, and Bubba did the right thing. Instead of lifting for us, he made the move to the middle. The middle was open. He forced the guy on the outside higher than he wanted to be, and it was a good move. I think there was a yellow pretty quick right there or something, wasn't there? Because we restarted. So. We restarted the same exact way next, and we kind of took it away because he tried to do the same thing. We kind of faded to the bottom half, and then we came right back to the middle, and then Bubba had no choice to go but follow us through 1 and 2 that lap. Yeah. So, but no, it's good to have. It's fun as a spotter to work with a guy that's looking out the front.
Oh, it's so much more fun
because you're on attack mode,
dude. When you got a guy that doesn't want to go on restarts, it's miserable.
I definitely think that's probably I don't know if he's a restart king, but I do think that's one of the strongest parts of his game right there is restarts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Brett Griffin, host of Door Bumper Clear. We've got something big brewing. Join us for the Dirty Mo Live show in Vegas at Westgate. VIP packages are available, but they're selling fast. Picture yourself front row at a show featuring Dale Jr. himself. Don't wait. This is your chance to be a part of an unforgettable experience. Call 888-433-2068 or visit westgateexperience.com for all the exciting details.
Moving on to the DBCA main, I want to kick it off by congratulating all of the CB Industries teams. Selfishly, I'm super proud of them. We've got Braxton Flat with 2 wins at Texas. Owen Larson, 4th. I mean, Jaden Rainio won at Millbridge.
Owen Larson races for y'all?
He does.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. And Wyndham with the Eldora win on Friday. I mean,
how old is Owen now, 9?
Oh, I don't know. Around there.
You're really involved in that Casey Boat racing deal, huh?
It's actually Chloe Boat Industries, and I don't keep track of their ages, but I know he's young, and it was
8 years old.
He's 8, exactly. But anyways, tons of racing this weekend between 4 Crown, World of Outlaws, All-Star Championship. Congrats to Zeb Wise. I mean, I don't know. I could not stop watching Dirt Vision.
Yeah, for one. Congrats to Zeb for championship. Zeb's a good kid. Young driver.
A long way.
Yeah. Logan Seavey does something that only 2 guys have ever done before him. 2 guys named Jack Hewitt and Kyle Larson, who are pretty decent.
Yeah.
Sweeps the USAC portion of 4 Crown, which was pretty badass to watch. Shout out to Wyndham for winning. Finally, I thought he might have forgotten how to do that, but I guess he's still got a little bit in him.
I'll tell you what, he was getting shoved to some of them restarts by Jade.
Really? I didn't. Yeah. I couldn't watch. I'm too superstitious. So by the time I forget where I was at, but I turned it on Race Monitor just to check and see where they were at in the program.
Yeah.
And they were already in the race, and there was like, I don't know, 10 or 15 to go, and he was leading.
Friday or Saturday?
Friday night when he was leading.
Yeah, he was gone.
So then I was like, I'm not turning it on. I'm just going to watch right here.
I know. I'm very superstitious, too, and I think I made a mistake.
They were coming to the green, and, man, she was like, that Jade is
aggressive.
Dude, they're coming to the green. She's shoving him to the green. I'm like, geez. But, yeah.
Who won World Outlaws? I didn't see that one.
I know, but I forgot.
I'm trying to look.
Rico.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're at Eldora. So yeah, Rico.
Yeah, Rico won.
Yeah, he is. I mean, if anybody owns Eldora, it's probably Rico. Rico's really good there. Tyler Courtney's really good there. Kyle's obviously good there.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's been ripping this year.
There's guys like, I will say that watching like Tyler, or who did I see? Was it Courtney that was bouncing it off the fence into wall? Like, they figure, these guys, if you ever go to Eldora, these guys, the fast guys, have figured out how to hit the wall and launch off of it to gain momentum. And I don't know how you do that there.
I don't know how you have the balls
The-
to do that.
Dude, it's unreal.
The funniest thing that came out of 4 Crown was Rico finished 3rd the night Wyndham won.
Yeah.
And I guess probably had to go jump in the sprint car to go run that because I seen Wyndham had to run over there. And so Rico didn't go to the podium. And somebody had tweeted like, "Oh, we just have a 2-person podium because it's just Chris and Jade were up there."
Yeah.
And Rico retweeted it and said, "No, I'm there. I'm just standing behind a check."
That's funny.
I was like, "That's hysterical."
Dude, Rico's having a good year, man.
He is having
He's
a
been
great
on
year.
fire this year.
It-
I got a new
like-
crew chief, and I wish I could remember his name.
Yeah,
but
really good.
they've been ripping all year.
Why? Like, does he run the Outlaws next year full time? I mean,
I think he has more fun doing what he's doing. Like you can chase. I think you can make more money just chasing
what he's doing.
chasing bigger
Chasing the
events.
money.
You know, just being
Yeah.
like a barnstormer, like a true outlaw.
He's had a breakout year, in my opinion.
Yeah, for
I know what
sure.
y'all can do to train for the heat next summer. You can go to Eldora and just stand on the backstretch when they blow them flames up.
No,
Oh yeah.
That'll be how y'all get in shape.
I feel
that's
like
what it felt like all day yesterday.
yeah. Literally, when you walked out of that elevator shaft to the roof, it felt like you were now you walk behind the planes at the airport.
Yeah.
And the hot air. That's what it felt like the entire
Just
time.
felt like stepping into an oven.
We'll get them to open the track up, and we'll all go out there and drink beer and stand by the flames.
Well,
Are they bringing the fans?
No, I don't think fans are allowed.
Ricky Warner.
Ricky Warner.
Yeah.
well, this weekend, Outlaws head to Williams Grove, where I'd imagine the points lead will get even tighter. Right now, Brad Sweet is leading, but then David Gravel slightly chipping away. So I think
I wish Brad Sweet and Rico would get another shot at NASCAR, because they've obviously raced a hell of a lot more now than they have when they had a chance to come through here. I think they came through with the Sport Clips or Great Clips deal. Probably would have been
Yeah.
Great Clips, right?
Yeah.
Brad
Sport
did.
Clips is at JGR. I feel like I'd love to see them get another shot at it.
I don't. I would love selfishly. I would love to see that, but I don't think they have any interest in it. They have
Yeah.
way more fun and probably make more money doing what they're doing
I
now.
think Brad Sweet he's on par to be the next Donnie Schatz. Like that's him.
I mean, he's already on that. I mean, he's what 4 or 5
yeah,
championships
he's already
in a row.
halfway there.
Like,
Like how many's Donnie got?
I think 10.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Man.
Um,
But Brad's, I mean,
And they run his place right here out of literally
right-
next door to our
right next
studios.
door.
yeah, right down the
Casey
street.
Kane Racing.
I don't think
Yeah.
they're here very much, but
And seeing like those guys, it's just a different breed. That's what they love. That's what they do. You know, it's not. These guys didn't grow up at an asphalt late model track like Dale Jr. did. That's what Dale Jr. goes back and runs because that's what he loves. You know, these guys, that's what they do. And you know, I think seeing Casey go across the country racing his stuff now, enjoying it. I mean, he's really loving life. You know,
It's funny because I like to watch old school late model asphalt racing more than I do dirt racing. But I think dirt drivers are way better drivers. Like just watching the discipline that they do it in. It doesn't matter if it's super dirts or if it's World of Outlaws or whatever. Like just I respect their craft more than I do the late model guy. But I enjoy watching now at this point in my
And
life the asphalt guy.
To your point,
It
I
is
think
different.
that like and we talked about this last week a little bit with Weaver. You know, Buddy Kofoid was a kid that was like the next guy, and he's still a phenomenally talented driver,
good,
but
yeah.
marvelously talented driver. Sorry, and he's not. He looks like he's lost all aspirations to go to the NASCAR side, and I wonder if it's not like salary, like we don't see the huge cup. Like these guys are trying to get the cup to make this big money versus just making a living running dirt. And now these the salaries are coming down to where it's like, well, I can almost make the same thing over here or similar.
I promise you.
and have way more fun.
Donnie Schatz makes more money than everybody in the Truck Series. And he probably makes more money than everybody but one or two in the Xfinity Series. And he probably makes more than some drivers in the Cup Series. And that was not that way 10 years ago.
No, that's what I mean. Like if a lot of these guys traded in what they really love to do, chasing a bigger paycheck, and now they're like, if the paycheck's going to be equal or similar,
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay here and do what I love to do.
There are some truck teams that still pay well, and there are some that pay awful.
I would like to see somebody take a guy like the CV kid and put him in a program that gives him time to develop his skill. Because Larson came in, was fast, but he made a lot of mistakes. He jumped the cushion a lot. He hit the wall a lot.
Yeah.
But once he learns that finesse, I mean, you see what the outcome could be.
Yeah, Logan's he's at the top of his game right now. I mean, he
Yeah.
wins the Chili Bowl this year. I mean, I would assume he's leading some like the USAC points in some of those divisions. I don't know about all three, but I mean, he's just every time I look up, he's running well in a different form of car.
Yeah, I remember right when iRacing came out with the dirt stuff, I started this just a part-time little dirt league fun, and Larson, we were in there, and Larson's like, look, if you let that CV kid in, we're all running for second. And so I let him in. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't let him in. He was so fast. So him and Kyle had really good races, but he was super fast. Kyle was right.
Well, don't forget to catch all dirt racing action on Dirt Vision and catch our show this and every Wednesday. Moving on to Reaction Theater.
Earlier this week, I was asleep and somehow pocket-dialed DBC call-in and was only saved by Andrew's voice telling me to leave a message at the beep. If I hadn't caught that, y'all would have had 30 minutes of me snoring and farting. Anyway, go Jenny.
Go Danny. I don't know. You could snore and fart at the same time. I guess it's possible.
I just got a new puppy, and he does it. Cookie snores and farts. At the same
She
time.
does it. Isn't it?
She does it, yes. Sorry. My bitch does it.
Oh.
Jesus. If anybody
Good
could only like you a
Lord.
little bit less, I don't know what it is.
Weird.
I mean, you look it up.
Weird.
Webster.
Ay, ay, ay.
You got this clown who wins a race, and he puts on a big f***ing hat. That is the stupidest f***ing thing that has ever been happening in this sport. God, thanks for choking Bubba and Freddie for making us watch that.
Freddie, I have bad news for
You're
you.
welcome.
I won a race at Texas with Elliott in 2003, I believe. And by the time I got to Victory Lane, all the cowboy hats were gone. I never got one.
So
Will
you-
got one
yeah.
though,
Will
mind
you
you.
count-
Will, the bus driver, he
Will-
got a hat, but I never got a
Were you
hat.
counting on me to bring
He
you
definitely
one
had more to
home,
do
or-
with that win than you.
I never got a hat.
He's probably driving down the front stretch.
Because he was already on pit road when they ended the race. That's why.
Yeah, that sucked. I like Byron's hat. I mean, I don't know. Why not do something
You
different?
know who looks good in a cowboy hat? Coach Prime.
Coach Prime.
He just
I was
looks
getting ready to
like
say nobody.
he looks like a bad motherfucker in a cowboy hat.
He got humbled the other day, huh?
Yeah, you think?
Man, if Brett could actually frickin' do his job, Bubba might have won a race.
You say you?
Holy shit,
Yeah.
Brett, you suck.
Brett, you are terrible at your job.
I know. I did
Jeez, Brett.
What's wrong with you?
I
Hang on, let me make a note for one idiot.
I've given enough races away to feel like I agree with this guy, but I did not partake in giving that one away. I was pulling for my friends Freddie and Bubba, and then I cringed when I saw him do that move, and then he lost.
I think the thing I remember you giving away, Brett, was the one time at Daytona when, was it Daytona where Clint was leading? It was a duel or something. We just drove around the bottom like you weren't. And
Well, you had an extra plate. You had to
No.
to cheat it up plate.
It was
the way
like,
Is that Dale
okay,
days?
here
Dale
it comes.
days?
No, this was with Joey. So, I mean, we didn't, if anything, we had smaller plate. But
I don't remember that one, but I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah,
There's a lot
yeah.
of things I don't remember.
we drove right around you on the bottom, and then it was like,
You
surprise.
You should have blocked the bottom.
It easily could have. Easily could have.
Yeah, we definitely should have blocked
Block the bottom.
when nobody's coming.
Should have blocked the bottom.
I got to send you a video.
Yeah, you'll laugh.
Is it bad?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the worst one ever.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hey, Brett, you got to let your buddy Andrew know that one of the things professional triathletes do is they actually take erectile dysfunction pills before the race to kind of get that blood flow, that circulation going. So, that might be a performance-enhancing thing that he could do. So, Andrew, there you go, man. You're welcome.
Andrew, they don't test for that either.
No,
Like,
I don't
if you're
think
walking
they test
around
for
looking
that.
like you're really excited to be there,
Brett.
they would just think you're really
Yeah.
excited to
There's
be
a
there.
reason they don't test for it, because you can see it.
They don't have to test
no
for it.
need for the test.
For the test.
Who's the guy with a red face and pitched a tent over there? Oh, he's our triathlete guy.
Isn't Andrew's dad here today? I feel
Yeah.
so sorry.
So
And
all
he
the-
doesn't get the context.
you can
So
see all the
sorry.
triathlete fans, they all stand over there and together, and
Can't stand close to each other.
Listen to Eric Church. What song are you going to
man.
listen to while you're running with this situation?
You can't listen to any music during the race.
No.
No.
Well, you going to be
What do
playing
you-
something in your head?
Yeah.
what do you
probably
tell
some songs
yourself
my
in your head when it's getting rough?
I don't know. It's a
I hope this
long
thing goes
5
down soon.
hours.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have any mental things stored like.
I don't
come
know.
on, you can get
5
through this.
hours.
You probably coach yourself through it. Like, all right,
Oh, that's
feeling
what I'm
pretty
saying.
good
What do
right
you
now.
say to yourself?
Yeah, it's more just like, at least for the half marathon part, it's like you're counting up and then counting down. So it's like you're counting up to halfway and then you're like counting down from halfway.
It's going to be a lot harder than you thought it was going to be. I'm just warning you.
I can't even sleep for 5 hours.
I know. Yeah.
We could drink for 5 hours in a bar.
Wait,
Allegedly.
are we ever around when you're doing any of these? I mean, can we go and sit on the side and cheer you on? Because I'll go and drink and watch you do this if we can. I will drink to that.
They're mostly on the weekends, which is the only
Charlotte-
problem.
Charlotte-
You're going to
race
need a
weekend?
moped, a
I don't know.
hovercraft, and a one-wheel.
Charlotte race
I mean, I'm not
weekend.
following around. Hey, is there like a GPS thing? Can we get your tag number
Actually,
and follow
you
you?
can track me.
Oh,
Let
that's
me
what it
ask
is.
for my
you this.
Ironman.
If you ran by the drink station and saw me and Brett with cups extended, would you take
No.
them?
We need it. We actually need this to be like the Hunger Games, where we can talk to Andrew
And actually,
during the race.
there was a DBC fan for my first race here in North Carolina who was at one of the aid stations, and I saw he had a spot on hat.
So
Yeah.
Doug
And I knew I could trust him.
I'm not drinking.
Doug
any of that.
Campbell ran
John.
like a half marathon down in Charlotte one day, and Priest and them guys went down there and they were like on the sidelines, so they were like, "Hey, we got you a water," and they ran out and like handed it to him while he was running. And he downed it, and it was a Modelo, right in the middle of a half marathon.
Did I tell you what happened at Bristol? I was walking inside, and you know how the fans are all lined up on the track there. They got and I'm walking in, and there was a lot of DBC fans in Bristol, by the way. And I'm walking inside. Priest is over there signing autographs, and somebody goes, "Hey, DJ, you're off. Freddie sucks." And I saw Priest turn around and grins because I knew it was
I'm
funny.
sure Ryan got a kick out of that.
Yeah, he did. It was funny because he was just totally just signing autographs, and he heard, "Freddie sucks," and he just started grinning. He looked back a little bit and just kept going. It was funny.
Ty Gibbs, you stupid son of a bitch. You know how to drive on the damn pit road? Take your dumb ass back to Xfinity where the kids drive. You're in the Cup Series, dumbass. This is where the drivers drive, dipshit.
Jesus. I mean, I guess
Tell us how you really
he gets
feel.
Ty.
Big.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah, big Ty Gibbs fan.
Yeah. I would like to have heard what Hirsch had to say to Josh because that would have been interesting.
It's never Hirsch's fault.
I
We do know that.
Yeah, it's usually not my fault either, so
We also know that.
Yep.
I'll argue till I'm right.
Figured out why I don't like Bubba. It's because he's just like my nagging ass wife. He plays a sympathy card after every race in the interview because he chokes. Just like my wife. Always saying, "I think I look fat. I feel fat. Do I look fat?" Just so I will say, "No, sweetheart, you look fine. You're not fat." That's what Bubba does. He wants people to say, "You're not that bad, Bubba. You're actually a good race car driver." Pisses me off. Full transparency, she is fat, and he does suck at racing. I mean, if my wife wins 2 races, she ties him.
But unfortunately, your wife's not going to win 2 races, dumbass. So,
I mean, what?
so
Didn't
listen,
expect that call.
His poor wife.
Listen, there's a lot of times like Bubba gets out and I cringe at maybe some of the things that he says. I thought he handled yesterday's interview really well. He got out and said he choked. He did he messed up. I don't know the choke is the right word, but I don't know. He maybe it is. He made a bad decision into turn 3. I don't know that he played a sympathy card. I didn't look at all the interviews. But yeah, you could say a lot of things about Bubba if you want, but that he sucks is not one of them in my opinion.
And if you think about it, would you rather him get out of the car and be like, "I'm the greatest of all time"? Like
It's restart,
every
King.
time. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. But like,
Just ask him.
wouldn't you rather somebody be hard on himself and more humble than somebody who's overconfident?
In today's world, I don't care what he says as long as he's telling how he feels, because we have way
Right.
too many of these guys that get out and either lie to us or sugarcoat it or don't address the question. So, like him or not, at least he gives us some authenticity, because holy cow, are we missing that. And when you look back at when this sport was on the rise and we were doing all the things well, the drivers were not pansies in interviews like they are now.
I do agree with that. I think it's good for the sport. I might not agree with what he says all the time, but you're listening.
And he's providing also a perspective that not many industry members provide. I mean, he's providing his true feelings, all of the stress that comes into being a driver day in and day out.
Yeah, a lot of these guys you don't hear anything from. And Bubba, he tells
How many times have we been lied to this year in interviews?
Yeah.
Post-race.
You know, listen to me. Like,
Ryan Priest, you just mentioned his name. He lied to us.
Yeah. Chase a couple weeks ago, like, whatever. But, like, I wish, you know, if anybody had any reason to never speak in public, it's Bubba, because what happens is anytime he says anything or does anything,
it's
just
matter what. Yeah.
torn apart. Like, I always laugh at people. Why are you talking about Bubba? You talk about Bubba because no matter what you could say, Bubba said the sky's blue today. It's going to get a gazillion likes and clicks and whatnot, and then it's going to be he's an idiot. The sky's red. I don't know what the hell this guy's problem is. You know. So if there's anybody that had a reason to not talk, it's probably him. But he's consistently goes out there and puts himself out there, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But he's not afraid to do that and show you his emotion and tell you what he's thinking. And I appreciate that about him.
I wish some more drivers were like that.
And again, if you want to say he sucks, then that's fine by you. But you're an idiot.
Oh, well, send us your thoughts, whether they're dumb or not, as Freddie mentioned. Whenever you'd like, just call our new number, 704-802-9572. Moving on to Ask DBC. Don't forget, use hashtag AskDBC on Twitter. We will keep picking the best ones. This first one is from Matt. Knowing they can't change the grandstands and structures surrounding the track, how would you reconfigure Texas Motor Speedway?
You can't do a big, there's never, you're not going to, one thing I would scratch right off the list, do not make it another Atlanta or try to make it another Atlanta. I don't think anybody wants that driver-wise. I don't want to spot another race like that. You're not making it a short track because that would require tearing pretty much the whole facility down. I think your best bet is just trying to go back to either the old configuration where we could kind of run all over the place, or it's going to be 1.5 miles. It's going to be a tri-oval 1.5 miles. I would love to see another true oval, kind of like Homestead, but it's not going to happen just because of the way, to this guy's point, the grandstands and the walls are laid out. It's just not possible.
That's literally my question and top of mind is why can't we make 1 and 2 like 1 and 2 at Homestead?
Yeah, and it's just like the problem is, and Homestead's a different animal because it's a true oval versus a tri-oval, or a, whatever you want to call that, cookie cutter intermediate deal. I'm sure that lends itself to making Homestead what it is, because we see similar at California, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think you just go back to closer to what the original, that we repaved it, and we need to repave it because it wouldn't dry. That was the biggest thing. Like, there wasn't, I don't remember the racing being awful there.
It wasn't awful.
We had to repave it because the 1 week we were there till Wednesday because the track just wouldn't dry.
So, even when it stopped raining, it wouldn't dry.
Yeah. So that was the main reason they redid it, and then they just thought they had a better idea, and it obviously didn't work. 1 and 2 is awful. It's probably the worst corner in the sport. I think you just go back to what we had before, or something similar to what we had before, and just let it rip.
Yeah, I would take being there for an extra day to have the old track back, honestly. I know it was hard to drive, but the racing, when they did race on it, it was all over the track, top, bottom, and you had guys that could. It was like a Homestead or a Charlotte. You had guys that could run the fence, and they would figure it out. McMurray was always one of the first up there in turn 1. Dale Jr., Carl, all them guys, man.
I think Jamie was the first one up there after the repave too, wasn't he?
He was the first one. He was first one to went into turn 1 and forgot to turn. He was. Yeah, it was scary looking.
I think he tried to turn. He didn't forget to turn.
He tried. There was nothing to turn on.
It's so weird looking. Like, even when you run it on iRacing, you go on iRacing, you're like, whoa, there's the bottom over there. And you're like, okay, that's exactly how they look when they run it.
That's crazy.
Now, if they're potentially looking at moving this race to spring, would the weather being cooler impact or help the racing at all?
It could. Well, the racing side of it might hurt a little bit. It'll help the fan side of it for sure. I think
it's going to hurt the racing.
The racing will suffer a little bit. Especially as is the track as is. You know, it's just it will have more grip and be faster through the corners.
I just don't. I didn't see a lot of guys slip yesterday because of just the heat. I saw the only time they slipped was if they jumped the invisible cushion.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't. If it's cooler, they're just going to go faster and beyond that edge more, which could create it. You know, I think the Xfinity race now that could be interesting.
That Xfinity race.
Holy
I
cow.
knew that was coming. Somebody said to me something about, we were going to go somewhere watch the Notre Dame game. And I was like, we're going to be here still.
We went to an
Xfinity. It's like we're
dude, we went to an Xfinity race and an ARCA race broke out.
It was brutal. I knew we were talking about it, but Herm stands next to me, and I was looking at Herm, and I was like, man, I think this has got potential to be a bit of a show. And he's like, yeah, I agree. And then, like I said, lap 1, the 1's in the fence off of 2, the 98's in the fence off of 4, and you're like, oh, God, here we go. And it was just all day. People in the back spinning out or whatnot. It was a bit of a disaster.
Moving on to question number 2. How can we get the Cup cars to race at Martinsville like those late models did on Saturday? And this one is from Mike.
Yeah, I saw that replay. They finished. Was a phenomenal finish. And
phenomenal.
It was, I still think, watching them late models, man, they're flying around there. Like, they're in the throttle a lot.
I didn't see what the lap times were. Actually, I did see it, but I can't remember what it was. It was like a 19-second lap, I think, 50 or 60 was the pole. Yeah, phenomenal, marvelous.
Put the rain
terrific
tires on the Cup cars. Let them
finish to that thing. Listen, we know what the issue is in Martinsville. It's the shifting. It's the tires. The car, just a giant bad package right now. But like you said, great finish to that race. Huffman probably could have easily gotten in line and put the bumper to him and moved him, but didn't. Tried to race him on the outside, raced fairly clean. And
zero idea why that happened like that.
And lost.
What an idiot.
What an idiot. He should have just lifted and got himself a clock.
Yeah. You don't have to wreck the guy.
Yeah, just a little bump and run.
I've been there. It can be done.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. You're never –
Your last name's Huffman. You're not supposed to – you don't drive with a glass bumper.
The second question on my sheet is from Tim, and it says, is there anything NASCAR can do to get you guys some shade?
And we talked about it.
We already
I
covered
know.
it.
Are you got short-term memory loss today?
Tim is our friend. Tim, there are things we can do.
Oh, Tim, yes. Tim, we appreciate you. There is some things we can do, aside from the imaginary fans that they already give us.
There's always something you can do. And some tracks.
How cheap could you do it?
I have no idea.
4x4s and a tarp.
No, I mean, I think there's more to it than what you're thinking. But could it be done? I mean, I've seen crazier things done than that. But yes,
you can't do it for under $5,000.
I don't know. I think if you put something up there, it's going to have to be something like those things they put at the parks, those rectangular things for shade.
That's
but
exactly
they have to be anchored down to something that's bolted to the roof, which
everything on the roof is anchored down.
Has to be anchored down.
Yep.
And they could put them up for the weekend and take them down. I don't think you can't put an easy up there. That's not happening.
Well, they said you guys could bring whatever you needed to do your job.
I'm not. Yeah, the wind was bad. I mean, the wind was bad enough there. It would have probably landed at the airport.
You don't think a 20x20 easy up tent would have worked?
I think it would have worked till it wasn't there.
I can't stress enough, and I don't care if you hate the fact that we're that it's hot up there, but I cannot stress, and you don't even realize it. Like it's so hot, you kind of get used to it.
You don't even.
But then when Tab brought that umbrella out for 5 seconds and just put it over us, I was like, "Oh my God!"
My favorite used to be when I would watch sweat drip off the front of my hat. I guess my hat is saturated at this point.
You know what? When I put sunblock on, you put it on your face. I stopped putting it on my forehead, and I got a big forehead if I don't wear a hat. But it would sweat and go down across your eyes, and if you don't your eyes are stinging. And I kept going and getting a.
They call what we have a 5 head, not a 4 head.
Yeah, that's what Peyton. That's the Peyton Manning joke. I kept going and getting this towel that I had that can go all the way over your head and down across your shoulders, and I would go to my cooler and just dip it in there.
I will tell you, Bodie's cooling towels now that he's coming back from mono. Those things are phenomenal.
Yeah, keeps your I feel like I'm keeping my head cool.
Yeah, they're marvelous. Yeah.
Super
miraculous.
Miraculous.
Yes.
Well, we originally cut that from Tim because they'd already complained about it. But
We
thank
want to
you.
complain again.
Yes, by all means. Thank you, Tim, for submitting that question. This next one is from Jim. What are Freddie's thoughts on Updog?
I'm assuming this is an Andrew question.
What is up, dog?
I don't even know what
What's
you're talking
up,
about.
dog?
What's up, dog?
Yes.
What's up, dog?
Never mind.
You know what up, dog is?
What was you saw it. I think I know you
What?
saw it. Josh Allen. What's the name of that restaurant?
Oh, room 40?
Room 40.
Room 40?
You
ever
been to
seen that, Andrew?
You ever been to that place,
Yeah.
Room 40?
Yeah.
Do you know it, Brandon?
I'm afraid to see.
You know,
to
well, there's
say.
a new, there's a new restaurant. You know, you ever Wing Nuts? Where you go, you know, the wing
What?
place. You ever hear of them?
In
It's where you
Buffalo.
can go
It's
get
in
wings. No,
Buffalo.
they're all. That's the chain
is
all
it?
over the place. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw him.
it's like Wing Nuts or Wings to Go, kinda.
Okay.
Now, have you ever heard of Room 40?
I'm just skeptical.
Yeah, everything
answering.
everything
You'll
you
figure
say,
it out. What's the name of the restaurant?
Wing 40.
Room 40.
Room 40.
Room for these nuts in your mouth.
And this is why we have 12-year-olds on our show.
Oh, room.
If you're 12, you should not be listening.
room 4D, not
Dude.
4T.
I'm not. I gotta say this. I watched this video, and I know it's from a while ago on the Pat McAfee show.
McAfee?
Yeah, McAfee. McAfee. Been sitting next to Brett too long.
That was pretty far off.
So this kid calls in. He's like, "Oh yeah,
Oh, I
you're such a
saw
role
that.
model." And he's like, "No." And at the end of what's he say at the end? He's like,
Boston or some
the other guy on the show. You know what I'm talking about? What's his name?
I don't know any other guys on that show.
So I think it's one of the guys on the show, and he's like, "F this guy," and they're all like, "Yeah!" Like, dude, you ever seen it?
Uh-oh.
It's
Oh,
funny.
I'll have to show it to you. That video you sent me is pretty good.
Did you hear it? Can you hear it?
No, but I just saw.
Oh,
it. I mean,
all you gotta
basically
do
waved.
is all you gotta do is hear it. The driver does exactly what the spotter tells him.
All right. Well,
That looked like a.
All right.
Driver does exactly what the spotter tells him. What do we got here? What an idiot!
What an idiot.
Yes.
Landon Huffman. I mean, sorry.
My one idiot is coming from that event.
Had a feeling. Donor?
These
D's.
idiots, these idiots, and one of them I have a hard time calling because I like Chad Bryant, but they got into it. I don't know who the other guys were. Magnum Tate, something like that.
Yeah, it was that. I saw.
And whatever. You guys want to fight. You look like idiots when you fight, but it is what it is. I've been in fights. It happens. But here's where you're an idiot. You just the next heat race is lined up, getting ready to go out, and you guys decide to fight on the hood of this guy's car
Destroy
and
the hood.
destroy this guy's front end while he's getting ready to go out for a race.
The blue car.
The purple car. It
Purple car.
was the 42, which I don't know if he was any good. I don't know who it was. He did not make the race. So I know
right
that
front fender and
his
hood was
right
killed.
front fender and his hood are buckled in and killed because these guys are wrestling around, laying on it. I don't know. I saw the wreck and it was a dumb looking wreck, and I just that event. I seen some people complaining about the guy that runs that event, and that event seems to me like it turns into a bit of a show every year, and maybe it is time to make a change there, because even when I was I went with Bubba a couple, I don't know, I say a couple years ago, it's probably 10 years ago now. It was a joke then, and it's kind of always been a joke. There's always guys wrecking the hell out of each other or jumping restarts or whatever it is. Like you would think one of the most prestigious late model races in the country.
There's just no respect.
Yeah.
Like you just turn each other.
Well, there's no respect because nothing happens, I don't think.
Yeah.
These guys wreck each other, and then they get away with it. It's kind of like we talk about Bowman Gray. You see this stupid stuff at Bowman Gray because nobody
it's
does
so
anything
bad.
about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys, listen, Connor Hall is a very talented race car driver, won the national championship this year. You see these guys fighting after this heat race.Hy are they in the race? Like, I would have told all of them, pack your get out. Like, you're in here having this big melee. You wreck this guy's car. Like, both you teams can pack your and leave. Like, I don't need you here the rest of the day. I got 88 cars lined up trying to get in this race.
Even when I ran that race back then, going there, I was nervous because I was told, hey, if you don't transfer into qualifying, you're probably just going to get wrecked. And I qualified 27th, which is 7 spots short of making the show, and just planned on not making the race. Luckily, I transferred in and didn't get wrecked. But man, they're called the hooligan races. Is what they've when I went there, oh, you got to run a hooligan race. What? Oh, yeah, you're probably getting wrecked.
Yeah, and that's the thing I don't like. Like, they recently changed the format, I think, because it used to be they would lock, I think, X amount in from qualifying, and then they would have these races to fill the field out. Well, now everybody runs a heat. So, like, if, Huffman was really good the other day, he sat on the outside pole. But if somebody goes into turn 1 and wipes him out, like, you're out. Like, no matter how fast you are.
Used to be a little bit over half the field was locked in.
Yeah, I thought it was like 20, and then they put 20 in from the last chance races. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is, if it's the people running the show over there or what. But they've got to do something to be a little better.
You got an idiot.
Yeah, Landon. What an idiot. Had to race 1. It was right in front of you.
I'm not going to say mine, but she shouldn't have tweeted what she tweeted or posted what she posted. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Oh,
Damn it, Casey. What'd you say now?
I
Brandon, were you there, Brandon? Yeah. So Brandon Brown here. So he's a general manager of a racetrack, but we still somehow got him here on a Monday morning every week. He said, and to back up that point about the heat races, like all the stuff was going on around those transfer spots. Like that the feature
always is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, lock these guys in, which I guess it wouldn't matter if the same thing would happen, but. Like, you got to figure out a way to clean this up, because it is a amazing event, but it just always
the integrity back.
Yeah, it always turns into a disaster.
Yeah. If you look at the last 25 laps, they had a comp caution at 25, and those last 25 laps were beaten, they were banging, but it was some of the best racing, if you go back and watch it, that I think I've seen in my entire life.
And there's ways to do it. Like, I was talking with this about Tommy Baldwin, talking about this with Tommy. The modified guys, Doug Coby, Ronnie Silk, Justin Bonsignor, race each other like they hate each other's guts. But what they don't do is crash. Like, whatever it is, they run each other over. They had Justin and Silky just had a big battle at Riverhead where they're beating and banging the hell out of each other back and forth, swapping the lead, and they finish first and second or first and third because they know that there's a line you can go to without crossing and wrecking your stuff. And these guys, the wreck I saw with Connor Hall, I don't know whatever the other kid's name was. Was it Magnum Tate? Is that his name?
Magnum Tate climbed up on him.
Yeah, like he jumped over him. Like he was trying to pull out a line. We've seen Martinsville restarts 1,000 times. He gets a good run, so he's going to take him 3 wide into 1. Well, I think Connor comes down a block a little bit. He jumps over his left rear, has damage. So what does he do when he gets turn 1? Just hangs dead right and wrecks. Whoever he wrecks Connor and whoever was behind Connor, and that's where the fight comes in. But I mean, like, I get it. Like, you're mad, but now like it just goes too far, and it ruins a really good event.
If you dive 3 wide into the corner of Martinsville, most of the time the guy on the outside gets turned, because when you get to the corner,
you're hitting a curb.
Well, it's kind of like the track goes back to the right some from the inside, because you got the wall on here, then the curb comes back some, so you got to go back to the right to make the corner, and that's where usually the wrecks happen. But yeah, there's just no respect. I mean, you gotta, if you're 5th and they're taking 4 in the last lap, that guy always wrecks the 4th place guy.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Nothing happens. It seems like nothing ever gets done about it.
TJ, for Landon, what in your opinion, what do you think he should have done there?
Let him clear. You let the guy clear him off of 2. Let the guy clear him, and I think Landon's a good enough race car driver to go down that corner and not wreck him and race across the line. Really similar to what we saw in 2018. Martin Truex clears Joey Logano. Joey Logano goes in the corner and bumps him, and they race side by side across the line. The lap before that, and I don't remember who the guy was he was racing with.
Trevor
he got 1. So that guy ran him up off of 4, in my opinion, and that's why he landed on the front stretch, hung a hard lap, and they were like dooring into 1. At that point, the gloves are kind of off at that point, so contact's okay, so I don't know why you'd want to be on the outside of 3 and 4 at worst. I don't know why you want to be. To me, I'm letting him clear me, and I'm going to go down the corner, and I'm going to hit him just hard enough to get him up off the bottom. I'm going to use him up on the exit once I get position on him, and I'm going to try to win the race. At worst, you finish side by side, he beats you by a nose or something still, but I think Landon, was good enough, and I know in his interview he said something like, he's glad he raced that way. Well, down the front stretch, you're hanging a left into the guy. What bumping 3 and 4 going to do? You know what I mean? You don't have to wreck the guy, but I don't know. It's good to see Landon. He's been strong in that car a lot this year, and it's good to see him doing that and making progress there. So great race at the end, though. I mean, that's what you want to see at Martinsville anyway, is 2 guys, and I am glad they didn't wreck each other. A car didn't get destroyed for a win, so it was cool to go back and see a replay of it. I think that was happening while we were racing still. So great finish. You're an idiot still, Landon.
Who won this week? Oh, you did.
I didn't.
No,
Brett won.
I was trying to win.
Same.
Casey, we're coming for you.
Casey has one more race. Actually, Freddie, that's you. If I win,
I'm out.
You're out. And obviously, I was gonna win this week until you wrecked him.
Yeah.
I should
Who'd
get a point because you wrecked Larson.
Oh, we're not going
That sounds like something
I didn't
Casey
wreck
would say.
anybody.
TJ, who are you picking for Talladega?
Damn, what a weekend.
Anything can happen.
Yep.
No kidding. I mean, I can look at this list here and
Listen, somebody in a Rick Ware car or BJ McLeod or somebody that we do not even know is in the race this weekend is going to finish top 10. They do it every time.
man, I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney.
I will.
What do you mean you don't want to jinx yourself? You want to pick yourself, but you don't want to jinx yourself?
Well,
Okay.
then I'll pick you. I'll
All
take
right.
Keselowski.
Well, that's the first time he's heard that in years.
That's what I was going to pick.
Oh, thanks for the respect.
I will take. Damn, I don't know who I want to take now. I'll take Joey Logano.
Aggressive. I'll
Right.
take a guy who used to suck at plate tracks, and for whatever reason, since he got to RCR, he's been pretty fast, and he's got to turn it around. He's almost in a must-win. Kyle Busch. He could have won 2 or 3 plate races so far this year, and he's won 1.
This could be a great weekend.
I
for
thought
him.
you would take Busher.
Nah, save him.
Save him.
I think
Well-
Kyle Busch has got to win, and I think
Damn
he
it! I
and,
wanted to take Busher, but I was looking at Casey's list, and she already picked him.
he and Derek have had some success together, so we'll see.
Locked
What,
in.
listen, all of our picks are just, I mean, they're
There's
You,
shots.
you have
Yeah.
no. I mean, we have no idea.
It's a shot in the dark.
On that note, with where Bubba is in points, Freddie, what's your strategy heading into?
Win both stages, win the race.
Obviously, but knowing the big one could happen at any time. Where's your head at?
Win both stages, win the race.
You guys are
I'm not. My
So-
goal is to lead every lap of the race.
so hanging in the back won't really do
No.
anything.
There's no hanging in the back this week for us. Win both stages, win the race.
I'll tell you, man. I listen. Even Denny Hamlin isn't safe with these 2 races coming up. He's plus 37 to the good, but given that there are ultimately 4 stages to pay points and 2 end of races to pay points, that is 6 opportunities to win points. If he were to have a problem in stage 1 here and next week at the Roval, he's in deep dookie.
He's 2 feet from being out.
He is.
Like hitting the right rear tire and breaking that toe link. He's
yeah.
2 feet from being out right here.
What about Larson, where he's right now 8th?
Listen,
2 in.
there's 2 guys that I'm concerned about here, maybe even 3. You know, Larson always seems to find a crash at a plate race. Not that I don't think he's bad at plate racing. It just seems like he's always ends up in a wreck. Truex struggles at plate racing. Like, I don't think he's never won a plate race, right?
Not that I remember.
Not
in Cup.
I mean, he's gotten some stage points in the last few years with us because we all kind of work together. But you know, if you end up wrecked here, that's a bad deal. And you know, Ross is another one who's really aggressive, ends up in danger spots sometimes. Reddick, another one, struggles sometimes. I don't want to say he struggles at plate racing, but another one that kind of ends up something bad happens right in front of him.
Like this is the only track we would go to that I would ever say this. The bottom 4 after 1 race in round 2 could potentially be in the top 8 next week.
Yeah, easily.
All 4 of them could all of a sudden be flipped in the top 8. 4 guys in the top 8 could be looking out.
This week determines our playoffs, I think. You know what I mean? Because we need to get if we wreck here, we're in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? We have to go to Roval and win.
Oh, you're
so
any of us wreck here.
You know, so you know, this
Well, that
determines
depends.
we got to get.
If all these cars are in the rack, we might be okay.
Yeah.
knowing that even the Roval is unpredictable, do you think that this playoff segment or this round is the most difficult of all?
I think this is the biggest wild card round for sure because I think all of us, all 12 of these guys look and say, if we can survive Talladega, survive the Roval, we're really good at these racetracks. You know, you take Tyler for example. Tyler's, you know, plate history not that great, really good road course racer. If he can get to the next round and look at Vegas and Homestead, I mean, he's unbelievable at Homestead.
Yeah.
That sets him up for a Final Four run. There's Kyle Busch, same way. All these guys are looking at, if I could just get through this round, I'm really good. You got 3 really good racetracks coming up, and that's for some of these guys that.
I agree with everything you said. If I'm Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, my goal is get as many points as I can get in Stage 1. Stage 2, I'm going to get the hell out of there, because if they wreck, you don't have to get in it. And then you're going to have a top 18, top 16 finish.
Yeah.
Your goal is get as many as you can in Stage 1, chill out, be smart Stage 2. Don't put yourself, if it looks bad, get out, right?
That's kind of what we did at Daytona. When we were 32 to the good or something like that. And we were racing the 54, and it was like, go up there and try to get stage points. And we lost a little bit of track position. I was like, all right, get the hell out of here now, because we can lose 32 points in this middle of this wreck.
Yeah.
And it turned out the 54 was the one that wrecked, so then we were good, and then we just had to protect against a new winner.
And it changes during the race, like
Yeah.
you said. I mean, if you have a big wreck Stage 1, you're like, oh, we got rid of a bunch of guys. We're going to race hard Stage 2. But just looking, outside in, I would say if I were those two guys, and I guess Christopher Bell too, do your Toyota thing, go get your points. Race hard Stage 1. But if you don't get any in Stage 1, TJ, then you got to race hard Stage 2 to get them. You're going to have to get points on one of these stages.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, for us, I'd like just to find Busher, work with him as hard as we could, try to get out front, pull the pack. I know our cars work well with each other. They can push good with each other, and would like to do that and try to control the race. I'd like 9 or 10 stage points into the first stage, which would boost us up quite a bit. And I think that sets the tone for the rest of the race.
Then you just got to finish.
Yeah,
Because if you finish, you're going to run a top 15.
I want more stage points in the second stage, too, though, because I think if we can get a lot in the first one, we're creeping up to, the next tier.
Yeah.
And then if we can get more in the second stage, then I think I would be pretty happy coming out of there with first or second both the stages. And then even if you wreck at the end, you've had a pretty good day.
I'll never forget the first year we did stages. Xfinity race, Elliott won Stage 1, Elliott won Stage 2, and then Stage 3 we got wrecked. And then the next day,
good.
The next day, Tony Stewart was not racing anymore. He had retired, so we're at Stewart Haas with Clint. And Tony keys up the radio, and he goes, hey, Clint, I just want to remind you of something. Elliott Sadler won Stage 1, won Stage 2, did not finish the race, and scored the most points of anybody in the entire field. And then you're like, wow. So to your point, if you can go have 2 amazing stages, you can afford not to finish. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
That makes me less
Will
worried
they
about the
race hard or will they chill out? That is the next question, because
Both.
we saw Daytona balls to the wall the whole race. Will they race hard or will they chill out?
I think that's a different event, though. You got guys that if they win, they're still in.
You had rain, you had lightning.
Everyone still has a chance at Daytona when you go to that race, because if even the 24th place guy in points, if he wins that race, he's in. This is a different story. I don't think you'll see.
Ricky Stenhouse wants 2 wins. He could care less about your playoff. You
Yeah,
agree
but
with
he's
that?
not. Yes, but he's not gonna. I don't think he'll be overly aggressive. I think he'll be. He's going to be aggressive to get to the front. But
I'll remind you of that on Monday.
Wow. Yeah. We'll see.
Either way, trucks
hope
are
you're
also
not.
there. No Xfinity this weekend. Xfinity's off. Trucks are there. Playoff race for them.
Talk about Xfinity. There's some guys that have put themselves in some bad spots for Xfinity, namely
That could have been
TJ's guy. And
that would have been. I forgot about that. What an idiot. The 19 Xfinity car. I mean, that's 3 big wrecks this year that you've caused. So maybe pull the reins a little bit.
Was that you? Was that with you? Was he chased
Yeah,
it up into you?
Yeah, it got loose and come up and cleaned us out. Like, you got guys that race all year for start of the playoffs. You shouldn't be a part-time guy that, has as much experience as you do coming in there making those mistakes.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs. Like, I get it. You're in a fast car, but that car has a limit too. And that's 3 big wrecks this year.
Which car are we talking about?
The 19.
Which is
Trevor Bain.
Yeah.
Trevor Bain, not a full-time driver.
No, that's 3 wrecks that he's caused this year. He caused one at Atlanta, Daytona, and now Texas. So, pull the damn reins.
What a job, by the way, in that wreck, Parker Kligerman. Like, I don't know, or Klingerman, whatever you want to call him.
Kligerman.
It's a G? Oh.
Yeah. It's Klingerman for me and Dale Jr., but for that show, it's
And when
Kligerman.
they did that closed caption and there was Klingerman on the team, I was dying laughing. But
We've been trying to tell y'all there's an N in his name for years.
The job he did avoiding that wreck, and now where's he at? And he's
1 out.
He's 1 out versus where he would have been behind you. He would have been 30 out, must win Roval. And now you talk about, I mean, we talked about this leading into where was their last race at? Was it
Bristol?
No, the Kansas. When we were talking about he can't go there and just outrun the 98 on pure speed. He had to do something different. When we get to the Roval, that's where their guy's at next. He can outrun Daniel Hemrick by 1 spot there. Like he's a really good road course racer.
If he doesn't make any mental mistakes.
Yeah, no, he's got to have a clean day.
Texas was a mental mistake on his part.
Oh yeah, at the end.
And he even said in his interview,
on whose part?
On Parker's.
Parker's at the end.
He says in his interview that it was the right move to make. Well, I don't think so. That was the right move. You were better than the 7. You just needed to line it up right. You saw an opening and you overdid it. I think if he.
Yeah, he took the first opportunity instead of setting it up.
Yes, and it wasn't the right move. I mean, you lost it and went up and hit him. Like that's not the right move. There was going to be more opportunity. You had better tires than him, and I think Parker he has enough awareness and enough speed to regroup right there and get inside of him and pull him back on a straightaway at some point. If Parker can stay inside of him on one exit of the corner, he's going to beat him into the next one.
Yeah,
and that's all we needed to do. He went for it too early. But, yeah, I don't –
Truck playoffs this weekend. Corey Himes locked into round 2 of theirs.
I think the battle there is going to be Enfinger versus Zane. The top 3 have been the fastest 3 trucks all year. Corey, Eckes. Majeski's down there. They had an issue at Bristol. Who knows what kind of speed they're going to have after that little penalty they got. But, yeah, I think that Zane has kind of been he's been on and off this year. Not as fast as he has been in years past. You don't know. He's had a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, just announced his Cup deal. Or his deal with Trackhouse, whatever you want to call that. So I don't know if that's been a little bit of a distraction, but I think that'll be a good battle the next 2 weeks is Enfinger versus Zane for that last
They
spot.
will have a massive wreck in this race, and it will take out playoff drivers.
You're going on a limb there.
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
They will have a massive wreck in this race.
I'm glad.
This will be the best race of the weekend, too.
I'm glad I'm doing this race, but my guy this is his 3rd race ever in the truck, so we're just
Who you got, Jake Drew?
Yeah. Just going to take it easy. Learn how to race the O line for a while, let them wreck, and hopefully when they do, we miss it and we can come out of there with a top 10.
I think I'm going to have a familiar driver this week in the truck race.
Yeah.
Maybe with a shot to win.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, foreshadowing or what?
Do you share?
Maybe. Babe Ruth in it right now.
Maybe.
Yeah, what's your
calling
initials?
a
Give me
shot.
some initials or something.
CS.
CS.
Well, before.
Is it Cialis? What?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Here we go again. No, just kidding.
Before we close out the show,
there goes the big wreck. Freddie's guy.
Yep. Before we close out the show, I completely forgot to mention Wyatt Miller with a P2 on Friday night, and Dale actually stopped by the dirt track at Texas to watch his nephew run. It was so cool seeing Dale, he was working on tires, asking a ton of questions, and I know that the Dirty Mo Media team heads to Lernerville tomorrow, Tuesday, for the high limit race, and Dale was so curious to learn more about dirt racing. He had never been to a sprint car race, so if you guys have any pointers, feedback, thoughts, send them to Dale, send them to us, we'll let him know. He is in for a treat for sure.
We'll share his phone number. You can call him.
Yeah, you can call him. Hey, really cool, too. Awesome insight last week by Justin Haley and Dale Jr. on the Dale Jr. download about what ages they think kids should start racing. Definitely, if you're a diehard fan, it's worth a listen. Obviously, they talked about a lot of different things, but I personally enjoyed having started going to the racetrack at 4 years old until I rolled out. Now, that insight where they're basically saying, here's the perfect age to start racing.
Yeah, and I agreed with them because, we've seen with Bodie playing baseball. It's the same thing. It's great that he's getting experience and playing baseball at 5 years old.
Right.
He's not going to grasp how to turn a double play till he's 10.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's things that we can teach him, but it's not going to hit home until he gets a little bit older.
Great insight by
was
those
really
guys.
good.
I was probably similar to Brett. I grew up at Lernerville, actually, where they're getting ready to go tomorrow. My dad raced there every Friday, and literally I had the same little dirt track in the dirt right there by the flag stand that my Hot Wheels went to every week. And then the big wheel races on the front stretch, I got 2 little fire suits hanging in my garage that that I wouldn't race it unless and it was just a Halloween costume when they sewed patches on it. But I've got a box full of big wheel and bicycle trophies. But that track is where I grew up. So Lernerville's always been one of my favorite dirt tracks, and it will put on a phenomenal show there.
I used to wreck the hell out of John in a big wheel race out in front of our house. I'm talking destroy him, flip him over.
You could.
It explains a lot of what's
big
wrong
wheels
with
are a
John.
lot easy to hook each other.
Yeah,
with,
you could hook the hell out of them.
Yeah, that rear tire, you can get a hold of it and turn it. But
we will have plenty to talk about next week. Thank y'all for listening.
Sure.
Casey, thanks for only being a couple minutes late today too.
By the way, Charlotte weekend, y'all are going to be on stage from 6 to 7 in the fan zone stage
Casey, that is
on
6
October
sharp.
7th.
Well, luckily, I will be
5:45.
there. I will be
It's
there.
actually, we're going to be on stage at 5:45.
I will be there earlier for the Xfinity race. So if this isn't a
6.
sign to get your tickets to Charlotte, I don't know what is.
I just hope that host of our fans there for Brett again.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be as
If
loud
you're
this
listening,
time.
host of our fan, please
Can I
show
get
up.
the invite?
Can we request beer?
Yes, you are invited.
Am I the new
we need
bartender?
Hey,
bartender
I will.
Ben.
I'll tell you what. I'll bring.
You want me to get
I'll bring a
bartender
bag
Ben?
of picks and throw you one in the crowd.
Yeah, we'll hand you a pick for a beer.
Hey, I will say though,
Hashtag
Andrew,
fanboy.
Andrew.
where's bartender Ben? Like that's
Hey,
who,
Andrew.
Andrew, you want to be
This
bartender
is-
I'm
Andrew?
going to be bartender.
This is
Andrew,
a
for the
great
night.
opportunity. The guys may need some water while they're on stage,
Bartender.
so you could. This could be your shot.
I may need a ride home after. I don't need a water. See y'all next week. We out.
Have a great week.
Well, see ya. Go Bills.